Study, study, study. Homeostasis. What do all organisms have in common?
What is anatomy and physiology?
Do structure and function have a connection?
Those are the questions we're asking ourselves today in Medical Mario. Hi guys, and welcome to another video of Medical Mario. Now, today's lesson is all about Section 2 of Module 1 in our textbook, Visual Anatomy, Edition 3. If you guys haven't downloaded the textbook, I will put the link in the description. Please download the textbook and follow along with us. If not, I will be reading the textbook to you guys so you don't have to download it. So today's lesson, again, like I said, Section 2 of Module 1 is all about A and P in perspective. A and P stands for Anatomy and Physiology. This module it begins with how you're going to approach this course, and it's going to finish with I guess you could say, the basics, kind of. Module 1 is all about the basics in this course. And so the way we're going to do is I'm going to read and then I'm going to stop and explain whenever parts that I feel like you guys might be trailing behind a little. And if not, it's okay, just skip ahead. And well, let's get started. So here I have my printed copy of the textbook, because well, can't afford to buy the textbook. And let's go. Module 1.6, which is Section 2, A and P in perspective. Focused study is important for learning anatomy and physiology. Human anatomy and physiology, or A and P, is about how the human body performs the functions that keep you alive and alert. You will learn many interesting and important facts about the human body as we proceed. However, the approach to learning those facts and the attitude you develop will be at least as important as the facts you memorize. The basic approach in A and P can be summed up as, what is that structure and how does it work? The complexity of the answer depends on the level of detail you need. In science, if we know what something does but not how it works, it's usually called a black box. The more you learn, the smaller and more numerous those black boxes become. That is, the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. Whoa. We will devote considerable time to explaining how the body responds to normal and abnormal conditions and maintains homeostasis, a relatively stable internal environment. As we proceed, you will see how your body's anatomy and physiology work together to cope with injury, disease, or anything else that threatens homeostasis. So again, that just starts with off saying anatomy and physiology is going to be a little difficult course, but as long as you devote some time to it, watch my videos, subscribe, like, and comment down below. As long as you do all that, guys, this should be, it should be smooth sailing. Let's keep going. Tips on how to succeed in your A and P course. Hi guys, I'm Mr. P. I'm going to be your A and P teacher today. Approach the information in different ways. For example, you might visualize the information with your own diagrams. Talk it over with or teach a fellow student, or spend additional time in lab asking questions of your lab instructor. Set up a study schedule and stick to it. Devote a block of time each day to your A and P course. Practice memorization. Now guys, I cannot stress this enough. A and P, and if you want to go into a medical career, is all about memorization. If you're going to talk to a patient, you can't be putting their symptoms into WebMD and being, oh, okay, it's probably this. No, you can't do that. You have to memorize everything. Memorize all the tests, but we're just starting out with the basics now. Anatomy and physiology. What does the heart do? What are the 4 chambers of the heart? What are the 3 layers of skin? All that. You guys need to know that. Memorize it. But that will come soon enough. Avoid shortcuts. Now, this one is true because you can't really do shortcuts. There are kids that are like, oh, it's okay. I'm just going to, copy the kid's homework because, it doesn't matter. But it does matter, guys. You can't do shortcuts in the class if you want to prevail in a medical career. You have to do the work yourself. And I know I sound like a teacher because, well, I guess I am to you guys. Attend all lectures, labs, and study sessions and videos. Read your lecture and lab assignments before coming to class. I will be starting an Instagram page and Facebook page for you guys where I will be posting the PDF and the notes that I'm going to be taking, the textbook. So please, guys, please go there to my social media pages. I'll put them up at the end of this video, and let's keep going. Do not procrastinate. This is very, very true. Now, I'm not going to be like, hey guys, you have an assignment due in 1 week. Don't wait until the day before to do it. Of course, I can't tell you to do that because I can't rely on you. Seek assistance as soon as possible if you have a problem understanding the material. Again, I have an Instagram page that you guys will be able to DM me at. I have a Facebook page that you guys will be able to also private message me. And I guess I will also have a Google Classroom. It's okay, you guys don't have to join. I will put the code up at the end of the video in every video. And that's it for module 1.6.6. We have, I think it's all the way up to 1.9. Alright, what do scientists mean when they use the term black box? Now, the term black box, again, is something that they know what it is, but they don't know how it works. Let's see what the textbook says. The textbook says, if we know what something does, but not how it works, like I said. Like, you know what the stethoscope is, but you don't know how it works. You don't know how the sound travels from the heart into your ears. That's basically a black box. Also, identify several strategies for success in this course. Again, you guys don't have to answer that. Now, the learning outcome. Describe homeostasis, which is a relatively stable internal environment, and identify basic study skills strategies to use in this course. Again, we already went all over that. And now, let's move on to module 1.7. Organisms share common characteristics and processes. The world around us contains a variety of living organisms that look and believe and behave differently. Despite this diversity, all living organisms share common characteristics. Now, common characteristics of life. This is something that everyone in life, every organism, even a tree, surprisingly, has this. Something that everything shares. Common characteristics of life. Everything that has life. Everything that grows. How do we know something is alive? Life is difficult to define, however, there are common characteristics that are regarded as essential to living things. Knowledge of these characteristics provide a framework from which to make predictions about the structure and function of organisms yet to be discovered. In our world, these common characteristics include the following. Common characteristics are cells. Now, cells are the smallest structural and functional units of organisms. All living things are composed of one or more cells. Unicellular organisms are made up of one cell. Multicellular organisms consist of more than one cell. So imagine a wall. Each brick in the wall is a cell, right? You can have a teeny tiny wall made out of one brick, which would be a unicellular organism. One cell, one brick. It wouldn't really help against like a little ant like that one. But then you have a massive wall made of thousands of millions of cells, like our body. Our body has millions of cells. We have so many cells that I bet you guys can't even count it. Next one is organization. All living things have a structural arrangement more complex than non-living things. This organization ranges from the chemical level to the more complex organism level. At the chemical level, combinations of large molecules such as carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and nucleic acids form. Cellular structures that make up tissues, organs, organ systems, and organisms. We will be talking about that in a couple videos. That will be module 2. It's the cellular level of organization. So guys, please stick around and I will gladly just lead you through it. Responsiveness. Now, responsiveness isn't... It says, living things have the ability to detect and respond to stimuli. things that have caused a reaction, in their immediate environment. For example, plants orient to the sun, or you react when touching a hot object, like when you touch a hot stove. Ooh, that's hot, right? You respond. If you see something happy that makes you happy, your mind releases dopamine and serotonin, which makes you happy, which responds to the stimuli. Then there's regulation. Again, this is back in the first page, homeostasis. Everything in life is due to homeostasis, maintaining a stable internal environment. There can be temperature homeostasis, like the one in your house, with your thermostat and the AC and the thermometer. I'll be talking about that in a couple videos. I believe it's section 3 or section 4. So it says living things have mechanisms to maintain a relatively stable internal environment as external conditions fluctuate. This stabilizing process is called homeostasis, like I said. For example, your body keeps your temperature within a narrow range despite how cold or hot it is outside. Growth and development. Now we're not talking about human growth and development. I'll leave that to your schools or until we go over the reproductive system. Over time, organisms grow and develop. When you're a baby to when you die, it's all growth, 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 growth. You're growing every night, even though it doesn't seem like it. Every minute, your cells are dividing and multiplying. Cells are dying at the same time. So you're growing and dying at the same time, basically. Development is the natural progression in physical maturation, such as the seed becoming a plant. Your brain began as a hollow tube that developed into a complex organ that can think about itself. That is very interesting how you can do that. Like, your brain thinks about the brain named itself the brain. It's very complex and interesting, and if you guys want, we will be talking about the neurological system also. Reproduction. The process by which organisms produce offspring is called reproduction. Reproduction creates subsequent generations of the same kind of organisms. Again, this is just making babies. Not that kind of making babies. Producing offspring. Get your mind out the gutter. Then there's metabolism. Metabolism refers to all the essential chemical processes that take place in living cells and organisms. Metabolism includes both anabolic, building up processes, such as the synthesis of large molecules, and catabolic, breaking down processes, such as the breakdown of large molecules to release energy. Now, metabolism is everything that happens in your body, whether you're building up anabolic reactions or breaking down catabolic reactions, as you already read. You will use catabolic reactions to make ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which is an energy molecule that your body uses to be able to produce locomotion, which is movement. And yeah, that's about it. So review says list the common characteristics shared by all living things. We just listed them all. Distinguish between growth and development. Well, let's see. Growth is an increase in size, and it occurs as a part of development. Meanwhile, development is the natural progression in physical maturation, right? So growth is just like getting bigger and bigger. It's also part of development. Development is everything in your brain, your skin cells, your nails, even your heart developing, getting more complex as you grow along. And there's another page. Basic processes in humans and other animals. So this is now just between in the kingdom Animalia. If you don't know, talk to your science teacher. This is all about the process of life in animals and humans. Humans are animals. So there's respiration, breathing in, breathing out, the production of oxygen to all your blood, and from your blood to your organs giving back deoxygenated blood, the whole circulatory process. Respiration is a fundamental process of life involving energy production. Oxygen is obtained from the environment and is required for chemical processes that release energy in a suitable form. Carbon dioxide is released as waste. In the human body, the respiratory system, which we'll be talking about in chapter 21, obtains oxygen from the atmosphere and delivers it to the cardiovascular system. It also removes carbon dioxide from the cardiovascular system and delivers it back to the environment. So again, this is just breathing in oxygen and carbon dioxide, breathing in everything, and exhaling carbon dioxide, right? And this will help with your body. This will help you produce ATP, like I said before, be able to run faster. That's why when you run, you breathe faster and faster. Your body wants to get more oxygen into you to create more ATP. If not, you will go into anaerobic respiration, which is why you get that pain in your side if you've been running for a long time. Anaerobic respiration creates lactate acid, which will burn at your muscles and your nerves, which is why you get that what's called a side stitch pain when you're running or doing physical activity for a long period of time without your body being able to handle it. Then there's digestion, which is, again, eating, nom nom nom, going through your esophagus, to your stomach, to your large intestine, to your small intestine, the liver producing acids to be able to break down these and the nutrients being absorbed in the intestines. Like I said, it's just absorption of nutrients. Nutrients are something that you need to survive. Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C. Don't know if vitamin B is a real thing. Vitamin D. A lot of things, you need to survive. Calcium. Again, these are things, like I said again, you need to survive. So that's why you have to, if you go without 3 weeks without eating, you die. You know the 3-3-3 rule. I think it's 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and then 3 months without shelter. Digestion is a mechanical and chemical process that converts the nutrients in ingested food into simpler substances the body can use. These substances are then absorbed for the production and maintenance of cells and tissues or to generate energy. In the human body, food enters through the mouth where it is mechanically broken down. Chemical breakdown by enzymes occurs throughout the digestive system. We'll be talking about this in chapters 22 and chapter 23. Circulation. You see, guys, circulation has a very near and dear part of my heart because I have one of my goals in life is become a cardiothoracic surgeon. So circulatory system, relating to the heart, all the vessels, it's just, yes. Anyway. Circulation is the internal movement and distribution of oxygen, cellular waste, and the products of digestion. In the human body, substances are transported by the cardiovascular system. Chapters 17 through 19. That's how big the cardiovascular system is, guys. It takes up 3 chapters. And the lymphatic system, chapter 20. Now, excretion. Again, this is your waste, going to the bathroom, going potty. I'm sorry. If going potty. Excretion is the process in which undigested food and waste of metabolism are eliminated. The wastes are removed to regulate the composition of body fluids and tissues, to eliminate toxic substances, and to regulate body temperature. In the human body, the respiratory, digestive, and urinary systems, chapters 21, 23, and 24, all remove waste from the body. So those are the 4 major basic processes in humans and animals which allow us to survive. These are what we need to survive. We need those 4 processes. We need to breathe in to get the oxygen into our tissues, into our cells, to be able to make ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which helps us to live, do all the actions that we need to do, make energy for ourselves. Digestion, eating, breaking down the nutrients and components inside of what we eat to help us live. Circulation, getting everything from our lungs to our intestines, all around our body, to all our tissues, to all our organ systems. Excretion, getting rid of what we don't need. Just seeing, okay, I don't, imagine spring cleaning. This sewing machine, I don't need it, so I'm just going to throw it away. That's what excretion is. taking what you don't need, what's basically waste, and just getting it out of your body, whether it be through stool or through urine. You notice that these basic processes are the central themes throughout this textbook. As you work your way through each chapter, pay close attention to the interrelationships among these topics. In the next 26 chapters, we will consider the mechanics of each of these vital processes. Although our focus is on the processes of the human body specifically, the basic concepts have broad application in biology. Now, review is just describe the basic processes in humans and other animals. A learning outcome is describe the common characteristics of life and the basic processes in human and other animals. So again, you guys know what this is: digestion, circulation, excretion, and respiration. Ooh, yes. You guys are such awesome students. I know I can't see you, but I imagine you guys are paying attention. I hope you guys are taking notes, because on this YouTube channel, we are note takers, not just note fakers. Hey, sorry. Now, Module 1.8. Anatomy is the study of structure. So this is like the beginning. It's across 2 pages. On the left page it says anatomy is a study of structure. Let me see if I can you guys see it. Hold on. Let's see. There you go. Anatomy is the study of structure, and physiology is the study of function. You probably can't see that because my camera's inverted and it's stupid. So let's see. Anatomy is the study of structure. Anatomy, which means a cutting open, is the study of internal and external structures of the body and the physical relationships among body parts. Here is an overview of the body and the anatomy of the heart with the walls opened so that you can see the complexity of its internal structure. So now there are 3 types of anatomy. There's gross anatomy, which is also macroscopic anatomy, which involves the examination of relatively large structures and features usually visible with the unaided eye. And then there's microscopic anatomy, which deals with structures that cannot be seen without magnification, and thus the equipment used establishes the boundaries of what can be seen. With the tissue structure, with a dissecting microscope, you can see a tissue structure. With a light microscope, you can see basic details of cell structure. With an electron microscope, you can see individual molecules that are only a few nanometers across. So now it shows a picture of the heart and all its chambers and valves and arteries and veins, where they each go, what they each do. We'll be talking about that when we get to the chapters where we talk about circulation. Again, those 3 chapters, I forgot what chapters they are, but when we get to there, we will be talking about the circulation system. All specific functions are performed by specific structures. The link between structure and function is always present, but not always understood. For example, although the anatomy of the heart was clearly described in the 15th century, almost 200 years passed before the heart's pumping action was demonstrated. Now again, let's review what are the differences between gross anatomy and microscopic anatomy. Again, gross anatomy is the same as macroscopic anatomy. So macroscopic anatomy, it's what you can see with your eye. I can see my skin, right? I can see my nails, I can see my eyes, I can see my eyebrows, I can see my hair, see my ears. I can see all those things, so I know what it is, but I can't look at the individual cells, which is where microscopic anatomy comes in through. Microscopic anatomy is like saying, what can I see through inside of my ear, inside of my mouth, in my teeth? The cells that make those up is what we look through in microscopic anatomy. And now physiology is the study of function. Physiology is the study of function and how living organisms perform their vital functions. These functions are complex and much more difficult to examine than most anatomical structures. A physiologist looking at the heart focuses on its functional properties, such as the timing and sequence of the heartbeat and its effects on blood pressure in the major arteries. As the heart beats, pressure rises and falls within the major arteries and the chambers of the heart. Blood pressure in the major arteries must be maintained within normal limits to prevent vessel damage from high pressure or vessel collapse from low pressure. This is just talking about how, like, physiology, again, like I said, homeostasis, everything is worked to keep it in a stable environment. If you're too hot, get cool down. If you have too much pressure in your arteries or veins, your heartbeat is going to slow down, so you're not getting as much blood, but you're also getting enough blood to support you. That's why they say when you get heart surgery, they say no major activity because your heart is weak. Your heart can't pump enough blood that it can right now at the moment, but you will recover. Explain the link between anatomy and physiology. Again, anatomy is the structure, physiology is how the structure works. Like I said before, what is the structure and how does it work? What is the structure, anatomy, and how does it work, physiology? Okay, and then now I think this is our last module section. Structure and function are interrelated. You guys remember at the intro of the video where I'm coming in through the side, sitting down, all saying, remember I was saying study, study, study. The first thing that we're talking about, the study sessions. Homeostasis, we talked about homeostasis. We talked about what all organisms have in common. What is anatomy and physiology? And do structure and function have a connection? Yes, they do. Structure and function are interrelated. This is the same thing as anatomy and physiology, structure and function. Physiology and anatomy are closely interrelated both theoretically and practically. And the anatomical details are significant only because each has an effect on function, and physiological mechanisms can be fully understood only in terms of the underlying structure relationships. So you can only understand how something works by knowing what makes it work. I know that this stethoscope works, right? I know that it gets the sound into my ear, but I can't fully understand it by knowing what makes it work. What conductors in this makes it work to get to the receptors into my ear. And then it shows a bunch of pictures of cartilage and bones and muscles and how those work together to be able to produce locomotion in your arm, in your shoulders, and your legs. The relationship is easily understood at the gross anatomical level. Again, gross anatomy is what you can see with your eye, right? You are well aware that your elbow joint functions like a hinge. It lets your forearm move toward or away from your shoulder, but it does not allow twisting at the joint. So you can't twist at the joint right here. You can twist at your wrist and at your shoulder, but not at your elbow. These functional limits are imposed by the internal structure of the joint. Now the elbow joint functions as a hinge that permits movement only in one plane, not from side to side movement, but from forward back. Side to side movement is more moving your shoulder. See how this part, I can't keep this still and move it too. You have to move your entire arm because that's your shoulder working with it too. Your ulna is the larger of the two bones in the forearm. So if you feel, you can kind of feel it's right here. Your larger bone is bigger than this, than the one inside. It says it has a broad, deep depression into which the end of the humerus fits. So right here, where the humerus is, there's a big depression, like a semicircle, where it connects in. Note the corresponding projections that help hold the humerus in position that prevent twisting. So again, it holds it in so it doesn't twist and just like break. That's how you cause fractures. The end of the humerus, which again the humerus is this your upper arm bone. This is your funny bone because when you hit it, I mean, it doesn't really hurt. Makes you laugh, but it also hurts. The end of the humerus, the upper arm bone, has a cylindrical surface that is part of the elbow joint. So it's right here near the elbow joint. There's a circular part that connects to the elbow joint. Now these all work together to prevent a fracture, twisting of the bone and muscle, and this is why, again, like I said, everything works together. You can only know how something works by showing what makes it work. And then the relationship between structure and function also applies at the chemical level. Again, this is microscopic anatomy. This is looking at something that's smaller and smaller. The relationship between structure and function also applies at the chemical level. Cells throughout your body communicate with one another through the use of chemical messengers, which you will learn more about in later chapters. Cellular communication usually involves the attachment of the chemical messenger released by one cell to a receptor molecule at another cell. That attachment depends on the three-dimensional shapes of the messenger and the receptor and on how well they fit together. So imagine this: you have your chemical compound, right? Let's say it's ATP. Each chemical compound has a specific size and three-dimensional shape. ATP, let's say its size is 4 nanometers, and its shape is a circle or a sphere. Chemical messengers come in a variety of sizes and shapes. In general, they are released by one cell to affect other cells. Receptor molecules, which is what takes them in. So let's say we have a sphere, right? Our receptor is going to be shaped for a sphere. So it's going to have a depression into it where a sphere can just clump in. Receptor molecules can be on the outer surface or inside the cell. This figure shows one receptor that extends across the plasma membrane. Again, this is in the picture. The plasma membrane is also known as the cell membrane. This is on the outside of the cell. The cell membrane determines what gets in, what gets out. Imagine a security guard. Are you on the list? I don't think so. Get out of my club. You know? It allows what gets into your cell and what leaves your cell. Then chemical messengers are detected when they attach or bind to a receptor that has the proper shape. Binding creates a new structure, messenger and receptor, and the entire complex often changes shape as a result. This can change the function of the receptor. In this case, a passageway opens up through the receptor molecule, permitting substances to cross the plasma membrane. So in the middle, imagine an opening. The security man says, okay, open the door for him. You open the door and you walk through into the person that you're waiting for. Now, everyday physiology. This is, you're probably going to see it a lot. It's how you can apply physiology into everyday life or in your other classes. Physics and chemistry applied to biology. So this is pretty interesting because I'm in a bio class. This bio class is getting easier for me. We just did genetics and botany. Before we did the cell theory, cellular biology. That's how I know all about ATP and that stuff. It says, it's important to realize that no mysterious forces are involved in the workings of the body. Although our knowledge is incomplete, it is quite clear that living systems are subject to the same laws of physics and chemistry as buildings, oceans, and mountain ranges. In fact, many advances in our understanding of the human body came only after advances in one of the physical or applied sciences. For example, the action and purpose of the heart valves remained a mystery until the 1600s when pumps containing valves were developed to remove the water from flooded coal mines. An English physician, William Harvey, was then astute enough to demonstrate that those design principles explained the function of the heart and the circulation of the blood. Now, let's see, learning outcome. Explain the relationship between structure and function. This should be easy. Structure is what helps the structure to function. Structure is your humerus and your ulna working together to create locomotion in your arm. And guys, I think that is it. Well guys, it was a pleasure. This video is running a little long, I know. I hope you guys got to stay until the end. It is currently, I think, 12:30 in the morning on Tuesday. Gonna go to sleep, gotta wake up at 6. Love that. That's my devotion to you guys. Again, I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. Right after this, I'll be uploading my Instagram, Facebook, and my Google Classroom code. That's about it, guys. I thank you so much, and keep learning.